Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Proverbs report in the afternoon here in Lynmouth. Lovely and rainy again, but what a beautiful, beautiful day. Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 27. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination. How much more when he brings it with evil intent? So the sacrifice of the wicked. The purpose of sacrifice was to reconnect to God. God had given the provision of sacrifice to the priesthood of Israel in order to be able to restore them back to a place where they were with God. But when the wicked come without any sense of repentance, just going through the motions of offering a sacrifice, then that was a problem to God. In fact, they would go even worse than that, in that they would bring a blemished sacrifice. So, if you like, a second. It's like they gave God the worst that they had in their offering. And as a result of that, they offended God in many ways. And in fact, in Malachi, it tells us that God was incredibly angry with Israel because of that particular practice. But here it says, when the wicked offer sacrifices. And you have to ask the question, why are the wicked bothering? You know, if you've chosen to be wicked, why would you want to pretend to yourself and to anyone else around you that you were anything other than wicked? But Solomon goes on to say this, that the wicked bring these sacrifices and they bring them with intent. And that idea of intent is for the purpose of trying to get something out of the encounter. Many people are connected to Christianity and perhaps other religions as well, purely on the basis of the financial benefits that it can bring into their lives. You know, it was unfashionable in the 80s and the 90s for Americans to not be connected to church. In fact, most business took place over coffee in a church. And so that idea of being involved in what you might call a seemingly wholesome environment basically provided people with an opportunity to expand their ability to connect and make money. So it was almost like a farce. They weren't going to church because they were embracing God. They were going to church in order to be able to make more money. And Solomon noticed that if people go and offer their sacrifices to God and give sacrifices that were something substandard, but also with the intent of not worshipping, but getting out of that encounter something that would financially benefit them. Even more so, Solomon recognizes that the wicked had become even worse than the wicked. And of course, wickedness is this wrongdoing that brings one pleasure through the wrongdoing done. No, we must not pursue that course. We must pursue righteousness in our offerings to God. Thank you for joining me. Be blessed. Have a great weekend, a great evening, and I'll see you on Monday.